Okay, let's jump right into this explainer on the Street Management Committee and how we're reclaiming our urban footpaths. Picture this. You step out your front door, ready to tackle the day. You're grabbing a coffee, heading to work, but boom, the sidewalk? It's completely impassable, literally gone. Instead of a place to walk, it's morphed into, I don't know, a VIP parking spot for your neighbor's SUV, or maybe a makeshift storage yard for a construction project down the block. We build these pedestrian platforms specifically for walking, but somehow that primary function gets stripped away from us almost every single day. Crazy, right?
Which brings us to a rather massive, fundamental question. If the walking space is just gone, do we actually still have a city? Now, I know that sounds a bit dramatic, but really think about it for a second. Cities are entirely built around human connection, movement, accessibility. When we lose our footpaths, we aren't just losing some concrete slabs, we're losing the actual connective tissue of our neighborhoods. We kind of devolve from a community of people into this chaotic holding pen for vehicles and debris. So let's take that very real, very annoying daily frustration of dodging traffic in the street and elevate it, because this is actually a philosophical stake about what makes a modern city functional in the first place.
Because let's be totally honest about what's actually happening on the ground. The reality of our sidewalks almost never matches the blueprints. Look at what we're up against on a daily basis here. You've got cars parked right over the curb, forcing you to do that awkward sideways squeeze. You've got massive piles of gravel or bricks dumped right in the way, turning your morning commute into an impromptu urban hike. Then there are the municipal garbage bins just spilling over, and temporary shops unceremoniously swallowing up the walkways. We all know this daily obstacle course. But while it's super easy to just get mad at the people doing it, the real issue goes much deeper than just simple rule breaking.
Let's dive into this comparison, because the real villain here isn't just the individual violator. It's the systemic, built-in delay of how our cities are managed. Think about it. We are fighting local, street-level realities with these massive, clunky, centralized municipal systems. When someone dumps gravel on your sidewalk, the damage to your walkability is instant. But relying on a centralized system means the reaction is incredibly delayed. By the time municipal enforcement finally shows up, the damage is done. The disruption has already happened. And the worst part? Shortly after they clear it out, the encroachment usually pops right back up. So the system isn't just failing once, it's failing repeatedly, entirely because of this huge gap between a centralized bureaucracy and the actual local reality.
So this explainer is really about a brilliantly simple yet incredibly powerful idea to fix all of this. The Street Management Committee, or the SMC. Imagine if every single street had its own agile, localized governing system to protect its footpaths in real time. That's exactly what the SMC is. It's a localized, first-layer controller, and its sole dedication is maintaining street discipline and usable footpaths. Now, I want to be super clear here. This is not some new political body. It's definitely not a corporate takeover, and it's not about transferring ownership of the streets. Not at all. It is purely a fast, local mechanism with one single job, keeping pedestrian platforms usable for actual pedestrians.
Now, what's really interesting about this next point is the number 5. Each street's committee is strictly capped at a maximum of 5 elected members. And these folks are elected directly by the residents of that specific street. But here is the absolute genius part of the design. There is a hard limit of 1 candidate per house, maximum.
So why does that matter? Well, by limiting the committee size and restricting it to 1 person per household, you completely prevent any single family or little local clique from dominating the street's management. It's a really smart structural constraint. It guarantees that the system remains intensely local, incredibly direct, and highly accountable. The people making sure the sidewalk is clear are the exact same people who have to walk on it every single morning. It fundamentally aligns the authority to fix the problem directly with the people actually experiencing the problem. So how does this whole thing actually play out in the real world? This isn't just some abstract theory. There's a 5-step operational flow designed to be a completely well-oiled, frictionless machine. Step 1 is monitoring. The SMC is constantly keeping an eye out for footpath parking, dumping, you name it. Step 2 is warning, giving the violator a quick local chance to just fix it. Step 3 is the first notice of violation, or FNV. Step 4, the police secure the site. And finally, Step 5, municipal executive action. It's a very clear, highly logical progression. Let's zero in on Step 3 for a second, because honestly, this is the real game changer. So the crucial point is this first notice of violation, the FNV. If a warning is ignored and the obstruction stays put, the SMC issues this formal notice. And this FNV is the critical trigger. It completely bypasses all the usual bureaucratic red tape by automatically doing two huge things at once. It instantly notifies the municipal executive system, and it automatically deploys the police. There's no waiting in line. You aren't filing a complaint into a black hole. It's a single, automated trigger that instantly mobilizes the exact forces needed.
Now I know exactly what some of you are thinking right now. Why involve the police automatically? And hey, that's a completely natural skepticism to have. We're talking about a blocked sidewalk or a parked car here, not a bank robbery. So why on earth do we need law enforcement deployed automatically for a simple pedestrian encroachment?
Well, the answer lies in exactly why typical street-level enforcement almost always fails. Look, it rarely fails at the detection stage, right? We all see the problem. It fails at the enforcement stage. When municipal workers show up late or unprotected to clear an encroachment, people push back. They resist authority. Arguments break out. And even if they do manage to clear it, the violations usually restart the second those workers drive away. The whole action becomes completely ineffective and just leads to chaos. So, under the SMC system, the police are automatically deployed to do one thing and one thing only: secure the site. They aren't there to argue. They're just there to establish that the location is under control. No chaos, no resistance, no escalation.
And as you'll see here, this brilliantly illustrates the entire philosophy behind the SMC system. It's a perfectly clean division of labor. Detection? That's handled locally by the SMC because they see the problem instantly. Enforcement, so the fines, the removal, the legal action, that's handled administratively by the municipality. And security? That is guaranteed by the police. By separating these roles out, no single group gets overwhelmed and no violator can just intimidate their way out of the rules. It essentially creates this fast, unavoidable enforcement chain that completely solves the core issue of a delayed, weak municipal response.
When you actually put this clean, mechanical system into action, the impacts are practically transformational. I mean, the positive vision for our future cities is right here on this list. Footpaths actually stay open for walking. Because the detection is local, encroachments get stopped super early, way before they become entrenched. That automatic security means no repeated violations after a clearance. And ironically, by automating the trigger, the overall workload for the municipality drops significantly because they aren't out there fighting the exact same recurring battles on the exact same streets. Ultimately, on a community level, residents become active, empowered guardians of their own neighborhoods. We mechanically and structurally reclaim our walkable cities.
It is so vital to remember what you should really take away from this explainer. This entire system? It is not about some massive power shift. We aren't creating a whole new breed of politicians. It is simply about the speed of correction at the absolute smallest unit of the city, the street. It's about fixing problems immediately at the local level where they actually occur, rather than sitting around waiting for a massive centralized bureaucracy to finally look your way. It's about making the city genuinely responsive to its actual inhabitants.
Because ultimately, a city isn't defined by its massive highways or its towering glass buildings. It's defined by the human experience right down at the ground level. As the source material so powerfully puts it, can a person walk safely on the footpath or not? If the answer is no, the system needs redesign. Let that perspective-shifting thought sit with you the next time you step out your front door. How should we truly define the success of our cities? Thanks for learning with me today, and keep asking the right questions about the spaces we all share.